quarrelsome. I think that is not a person who is always fighting over something or with another. Not covetous. Not a person who is never satisfied with anything, always demanding something more or different. So that's what I have.
What does Pastor on the Greek or something with Dennis there? The quarrelsome. You know, I think that's one that we shouldn't really just skip right over because it's easy to be quarrelsome.
Are you arguing with us over there?
Yeah, now darn it.
Yeah, look at the Bible how you alone.
Trying to talk.
I was going to make a point about that. You know, you don't have to be face to face to be quarrelsome with someone. All you have to do is ride the passenger seat of Brian's car. Argue with that driver in front of him till the end of time. But actually, it kind of runs in the family, so I'm not going to say anymore.
I do it too.
It's good that you were able to admit.
I do it too, though. I get aggravated people who don't know how to use their turn signal.
Okay, Gary, you got verse 4.
I get aggravated with people that have driver's licenses.
Who must manage his own family well, and see that his children obey him with proper respect. Imagine that.
Okay.
And in parentheses it says, if anyone does not know how to manage his own family, that's the next one?
Yeah.
Well, this is part of that. He must manage his own family well.
Steve.
Because if anyone
You're calling us Steve? You're calling us...
I think I'm Billy Graham.
Yeah, like you said,
Gary, go ahead and read that next verse. Go ahead and read.
Okay. If anyone does not know how to manage his own family, how can he take care of God's church?
Okay. So what do you think about that verse, Gary?
Well, yeah, manage your own family. Make sure that, every member is well behaved and not going out doing something stupid. Like some of the kids do today.
Yeah, and you're an elder of the church, and your kid's down in Sunday school calling his friends mofos.
Or tying them up with some arrows at it. Well, you think about what he just read, and how that ties back to being how that reverts back to being a husband of one wife. That continuity, how your children will respect you if you've divorced and moved on, and they have a divided loyalty now. It's not conducive to being a leader in the church.
So we don't have to really know how pastors would ask his wife or his children.
Well, I think it means get a big stick and beat that little towhead. No.
But here's the thing. First of all, if you're a pastor, this is my opinion. Okay, when the children get to the adults, if they want to act stupid, that's their call.
Yeah.
Okay, but while they're in your house, you're responsible for it. Now, if they get out of the house and they want to act stupid, that's another thing. Okay, but in your house, I think you are responsible for your children.
Yeah. But
and Brian says if you have to get a stick out,
there is a promise of God that says, I think in Proverbs, I got to get my verses and stuff down. It says that train up your child, proverbials. Train up your child in the way that he should go, and in the end, he shall not depart from it. So it means that, or in the end, he will return to it. So isn't it saying, like, even if you raise him well and raise him in a godly home, and then he departs, that he will return to it? Return to it. Kind of like the prophet.
Here you have the opportunity. He's been taught. He knows what he's got or what he wants to do.
Bend them toward it. That's what happens.
My dad had a unique method of... he had a unique method of managing his own family. If you start getting argumentative in the backseat of the car, he could flick a fly out the tip of your nose without crossing the center line in the back seat. And
His arms are long.
And he gets you every time.
Now,
Well, let's just sit in the front seat and do his calculations real
when
well.
it says that he will return to it, that doesn't mean that he'll accept it. It just means that when you bring him up in the precepts of God, that he will always know right from wrong. Whether or not he does right does not is up to his own free will.
Yeah.
And again, these are standards for choosing let's just say a pastor, choosing a pastor. Okay, so you look at the house, you look at the family. Okay, and if there's always a lot of pressure on ministers' kids, but I don't think that means anything. But, again, if the pastor has adult children that are out of the household, I don't think that this really means much. Okay? But if you have children that are still in your household, this is one of those things where the church has got to look at the household and see whether or not this man is governing his family well. Because if he can't govern his family well, then he's not going to govern the church well.
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned this. My biggest supporter in all the world is my wife, because she knows how I walk with the Lord. So that means something to me. That means something to me, and that's the way. If you want to be a pastor, what is the pastor's wife's opinion of the pastor? You get an honest opinion of him. That to me, that's very important. And what the children's opinion of the pastor is. Of their father. Very important.
With the PK, a preacher's kid, there is more expectation, I think, put on them to be well behaved than other children, which is what Paul's getting at here. I think when it talks about managing his family well, if you can't pastor your own family, you can't pastor God's own family.
We also, there's two things we have to remember. This is right centuries ago. They had two things going for it. One was community, and the other was church itself. A lot of family members were raised in a community where we did something wrong, we got it back.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of something, but it's a big difference now because now it's you raise a 6-year kid, you're thrown into jail. Back in those days, it was a community where they would pick somebody up to their rank. Not like you go up and pastor picks somebody Moody, Bible Institute, or they went up to the rank so they could see the character of that person before they got there. And they would, I'm not saying it's easier to pick, but you had more perspective than you do today. Today you might get somebody moody, even that it might be, go off the wall. Because,
back then too, also they mentored and apprenticed.
Right. The community.
Yeah.
See, that's the same. I was raised in the community.
The elders, bishops, whatever word you want to use, were chosen from that congregation.
Right.
It wasn't the way a lot of denominations do it now, where some headquarters assigns this guy to be your pastor or deacon or whatever they want to call it.
That's what it said.
That's the biggest difference to the church.
The biggest difference between now and then is the country we live in.
You know what?
Because God's expectations haven't changed. God doesn't change.
Nowadays,
Some of us guys got to be at least 40 years old anyhow. That's all that.
Well, always.
It's in that verse.
That's where you raised a family.
That doesn't hurt. Timothy was young.
Timothy
He
was
was not
32
an elder.
when
He was not a bishop.
Well, no, but I'm saying, actually
He was an evangelist. He was
Right.
a preacher.
Oh yeah, but wait, back up. He had me.
Okay.
But he was also commissioned to the churches as a troubleshooter to go in and assign deacons and elders. So in a sense, his rapport had to be even greater than even theirs because he had to go in and big guy's character, if his life was right, he was in a lot of trouble.
You know,
Well, remember, until these were written, they didn't have the instructions to do it.
boy, it's hard to talk.
With those instructions.
Well,
I know.
okay, so you're doing those ones too. I
don't
said
get
about 3
close.
words. Hold it. Okay, now, when they told Timothy, don't let people despise you of your youth, remember he was 32 years old at that time. He was not a teenager. He was not a rambunctious kid that just jumped into ministry. He was trained up to be a minister.
Well, first of all, his mom and his grandmother raised him up in the Scriptures, for starters. And remember that he was the exception, not the rule.
Right.
It was taught by Paul.
Well, most of them were in the 50s before that.
Okay.
Don't become a teacher when you're saved, do you? I mean, it takes a little more than that.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yes. Okay. Verse 6. Lori?
And not a new convert, so that he would not become conceited and fall into condemnation incurred by the devil.
Okay, so the pastor should not be somebody that just come to know Christ. Right?
And like he's better than every. Sometimes you can
Okay.
sometimes they're like they're stuck up like they're better than anybody else. Sometimes they get it.
That's the reason for it.
Well, it's like throwing ministers of music up on stage when they're 15 years old, 16 years old, 17 years old. And they really don't know what they're doing when they're ministering in music. They're just singing songs.
Well, here's the thing, where it says, you must not be a recent convert, or you may be pumped up with deceit and fall into the condemnation of hell. Now, this was for the protection of each young person, or it doesn't even refer to the condemnation. The fear is he'll fall into that trap of the devil to take more of himself than is necessary, and the result would be he'd be lost.
How many people have seen that with young people, where they come into the church and people flock around them, they're popular, and they're all lit, so all of a sudden they lift them up to a position, and they expect more from them than what they're able to give because of their immaturity in Christ, and they fall. And then they go away from Christ. And sometimes they never return again.